So, what if I tell you there is a game that takes clear influence from movies like Pan's Labyrinth or Nightmare Before Christmas or even Alice in Wonderland? Some pretty decent platforming, well as some just incredibly atmospheric music. Imagine this is an incredible game, right? Yeah, but here's the thing. Honestly, I felt extremely conflicted about this game. And here's why. So, this has been one of the most controversial games of the year so far. And yes, aside from the involvement of Sweet Baby Inc., which I'll kind of touch on a little bit later, again, also the reviews are very split. So, we're talking about people absolutely raving about it, then some people are absolutely trashing it. And here's the thing, I disagree with both of them. I think both are wrong in their own ways. So the thing is, I understand why people are trashing it. Let's just put it this way. When you meet somebody for the first time, the first thing that you do is the first impression of what you do and what they do. And that's why the conversation continues. And again, in terms of games, why you see games sometimes putting you in the latter chapters, then suddenly pulling you back to the start. The reason is they want to give you that taste of what you can do, and they put you at the limited period at the start. So it gets you interested and involved, do more and more to get there. This game doesn't do that at all. And it puts you right at the start, and the first few characters that you sort of meet are just as typical and boring as you can imagine. Typical jock? No. In fact, he's covered in sugar for some reason, so maybe not so typical, but again, very bland. Typical grandma, I felt very bland, and a typical conversation that you have between a teenager and her mom. And in fact, actually, hang on. She's not a teenager, okay? So her name is Hazel Flood, by the way. And in the description, it says that she's supposed to be, well, she's just supposed to have finished the high school. But let's just do a math. Her dad died when she was 4. Dad died 2004 and the game has come out 2025. So that makes her 25 years old. So if she's just come out of high school, all I can say is, damn, that is not been a great high school ride. You know what I mean? But anyways, thing is, the conversation, as I said, are not very good. But hey, combat maybe get better or platforming may get better. No. All you do is just go through these very narrow corridors and that sort of thing, do these very simple jumping mechanics and so on. Again, this button mashing combat that is just as boring as you can imagine it. And honestly, at one point, which you can watch my live stream to see my reaction and so on, when I was playing it for the first time, I honestly was telling myself, is this made by modders? It was that bad. Genuinely, I was thinking to myself, what is this? But then, it just suddenly went up like this. So imagine a flat line, then you go like this. So that's happened around sort of chapter 4, 5 kind of thing. Then it just got better and better and better and better. So what I mean by that is, suddenly we went from these very bland environments and whatever, where hardly story was kind of touching or whatever, but now this amazing world is full of life, from initially these sort of clay-made worlds, these beautiful houses and so on, detailed sort of truck yards and whatnot, to then ending up at this kind of Alice in Wonderland style magical world where houses are floating and whatnot, and they're all in sort of design of kind of Deep South or 1920s or whatever. Just very atmospheric, beautiful as hell. Honestly, I love the concept of clay, and I am absolutely huge advocate when games try to be different from others. Fantastic job there. And again, also, please give the guy that did the music a rise. What an incredible job. And the thing is, he all how he's done the music is it feels like a glove. So what I mean by that is not only the tone of the guitar, tone of the music, from the south and so on, fits the atmosphere perfectly, and it's done exactly as at the right time. The lyrics are also based on what's happening, so they just make them even more tailor-made. Just job well done there. Incredible. So he helped influence the world so much. And again, that was also complemented by these sort of emotional stories and that sort of thing. That was at times very touching, very touching, but also very raw. Some of the stories and events that happened. And to give you a bit of a context in terms of the story, it evolves around the sort of all the stuff that are in the deep south and whatnot. Again, I have no idea about the culture, so might be probably getting things wrong here, and I'm not even going to comment on it, but still beautiful, by the way, guys. And it's all about this sort of human emotions, essentially, and how if they're entrapped and through a shock or an event, they turn into these disasters, and how people kind of put these soul bottles on trees and so on that keep the souls inside, the bad feelings inside. Again, I love the kind of this Alice in Wonderland style storytelling and story in general. And I also love how it's kind of merged together and these emotional moments and how it's done in that regard. And I also love some of the characters, like the fish. Funny at times, amazing, great character, and voice acting as well. Fantastic job there. Also at the same time, I feel a little bit conflicted about the story, because how the story ends up ending, I'm not going to spoil anything, it's weird. Feels disjointed from the character that Hazel is. But also at the times, when you're going through the story, you're having these great moments, but then, well, these are all at that kind of a latter part, because at the start, a lot of these sort of negative stuff are there. But then you get these moments where the reactions are very inconsistent. What Hazel says seems weird and out of place, to me anyway. And it goes from sometimes a very PG-13 response to a very normal response that an adult would say. It's weird. Like, why would you swear, but then not swear and try to use very much language that's you hear 7-year-old use? It's odd. And I think that's where the influence of all these sort of third-party influencers like Sweet Baby Inc. comes in, which I believe, from what I've read, came in as a consultant. And guys, and to all the developers, stop doing this. It didn't work for Dragon Age. It didn't work for a lot of different projects. Stop bringing them. Not because I care about what their opinions are or, thoughts are and whatever. Yeah, I do want to hear it. See, it doesn't influence me in that sense. But what it does is, when you bring somebody else to then kind of trying to touch up what you've done, it destroys the story, because it's like a scissor that's come in and taken out the pages out of the book, or just tries to rewrite lines, and it just feels unnatural and weird. So I think that was just a really bad idea. But I don't think the whole involvement of Sweet Baby Inc. should be this be-all and end-all of this project. They were not the creators. It was Compulsion. In fact, I am actually looking forward to what Compulsion does next, because there's so much good that they've done in this game. And maybe with a bigger budget, not involving some other company in later part of the project, we will see just such a more detailed and a much better game. And here's the thing, I do not think this game is fantastic or incredible by any stretch. Honestly, if anybody's rating it that way, I don't understand. You did not play the first few chapters? Very strange from that point of view. But at the same time, guys, anybody rating it trash, I think that's just way too harsh. Give it a time. Past those first few chapters, guys, they're not that long. They're only about few hours, and you get past them very quickly, and then you're on this good ride. So stick with it. It gets better and better and better and better and better. Trust me on that. So, in my opinion, this is a good game. If you got Game Pass, absolutely give it a go. There's no reason not to. But if you're looking to buy it, I think at a full price, I will be hard to really recommend it at this stage, because I think, yeah, it's got some minor issues. But again, if you love the culture of the South, if you love platforming, if you like unique ideas, if you like great music, it covers all of those fronts. Just needs a little bit of patience. And in terms of the aspect of the story and that sort of thing, as I said, those little conversation things were weird, but they weren't that bad, to be honest with you. The ending, yeah, in my opinion, or how I perceive the story to be, it just did not fit Hazel. Won't lie, just me. But still, I would recommend checking it out. Definitely if you got Game Pass, for sure. Anyways, I hope this review helps you, and if it has, please do smash that like button and do subscribe to both support the channel and also to look forward to contents around anime, gaming tech, gaming, all sorts. I will be regularly updating stuff on there, so do check them out. But once again, thank you for watching. Hope you're doing fantastic wherever you are, and peace.